Good evening, First Community. My name is Corey Applegate, a mentor of the Granite City Gearheads Team 3244 up here in St. Cloud, Minnesota. I'm here today with Carter Calhoun, a student from last year and junior mentor this year. He's going to help me shoot this video about the Limelight vision system and a short introduction on how to acquire a target. We'll start out with the rocket ship today and identify some of the other challenges that we may come into. But first of all, we hope that you've considered the Limelight vision camera. The past 2 years I have been a beta tester for the Limelight camera and had some experience and have really loved the tool and how powerful it is and how quickly it is to set up. So in the mail you may have already ordered for the first round of the Limelight V2. Comes in a nice sturdy box, well packaged, and inside there will be our smaller, better, and maybe even slightly, I don't know, is it faster? It's still super fast. I haven't noticed any performance difference, but we like to go smaller, better, faster. It just rolls real well. Pull it out of this packaged box. First thing we notice is a sturdy camera with a bright LED array around it. Pro tip on the LEDs, do not look at them. They are super bright and they will give you those spots in your eyes. Turn it around to the top. We have our USB port to do some flashing of the firmware if we need some new images released. 2 LEDs brought out for us to view. The outermost is an amber colored LED. When it's blinking slowly, the camera is set up for DHCP. When it's solid, it'll set up for static IP. The inner LED is a green LED. When it's flashing slow, it is looking for targets, and when it starts flashing super fast, it has a lock on targets that you've programmed to find. And also a reset button for the network should we want to reset it and start over with the DHCP and static IP addresses. Come around the side, cooling fan. New this year is going to be the cooling vents as well, just allow better airflow. For teams that had the camera last year, there has been some problems with long-term use of them getting a little warm. That is not the case this year. I had it running for four hours with no heat problems. Coming around on the bottom, a lot easier access to the power ports if you wanted to bring your 12-volt power directly to it. USB port for an additional USB camera should you want to add a driving camera, which is going to be important this year, as well as our Ethernet port. You may have noticed if you're Limelight 1 users that the omit of the jumper PoE is automatically enabled always, so if you choose to use that, plug in your PoE cable and you're off and running. So we're gonna we'll keep this in the box here. We have another camera set up to the side, and hopefully we'll be able to snap back and forth between some screen captures. But right away, we already set this up, but you hook your power up, bring your Ethernet cable out there, use a Chrome browser and browse to the website of the camera. If you need more help, you can visit Limelight Vision OI and look at their documentation. They have really great documentation on how to access the camera. The website though for your web dashboard is limelight.local:5801. Here you'll have your setup tools. When you first launch your Limelight, you can go into the settings tab over here, the little gear on the side, where you can set up your team number. That's what's going to tell the camera where the network tables are going to be found, as well as set your static IP address in with the convention of First Robotics, where 10.team.team.IP of your choosing. 11, 12, 13 are common for cameras. 11 is actually the most common. If you're going to have multiple cameras, which we may, that's why this one's set to 13. Your network mask, 255.255.0. And set your default gateway to 10.team.1. Power cycle the Limelight, and your static IP settings are complete. The next thing is you're going to want to start looking at how to tune to capture a target. Right off the bat, the first page here, our exposure is already turned way down. When we do vision in First Robotics, we typically, to filter out all that background noise, turn our exposures way down. A setting of 2 or 3 is usually plenty. Anything brighter than that, you start getting a lot more noise. So we'll start with this too. If you mount your camera upside down, there'll be a setting here to orientate your picture and flip it to normalize it for your drivers to use. There is a cool feature with Limelight. Through the programming, you can set your camera mode to drive mode. It will automatically crank the exposure up and allow you to use this camera for drive mode. When you're going to use it for vision tracking, click it or set the value back to 0, and it'll be back to vision programming. Hopefully in later video we can look at that a little bit more in depth. First step, we'll just leave our orientation, because we are correct in this situation, our exposure at 0. We'll move on to thresholding. Over here to the right, show color. We'll start out in the color space, and the first thing we want to do is we can start running these sliders back and forth and try to start narrowing down. But they've included some really great tools here with the eyedropper. So just like Microsoft Paint, come over here and say we want to include this green color. Now we're starting to pick up some of the colors, and it automatically adjusted our hue, saturation, and values. We're missing a few pixels, so we'll include some pixels and say, yeah, we want those. Keep on including. Try to make these blobs a little more solid. Maybe one more over here. And we can fine tune the sliders, but that looks pretty good right now. So the next thing I'd like to do is switch over to the threshold color space, or threshold space. This is actually the ones and zeros, active pixels and non-active pixels. What is green? What is our vision targets? I like that, but we can see a few little dots, little speckles going on there. That's when we can turn on our erosion. Erosion is going to take those low pixel counts and shut them off, and as well as dilations. We got black dots, it'll turn them true. There's still some tuning left in there, but we are grabbing one target. This target that we're kind of acquiring, I would like to simulate as the airship. It's great that we have a single blob off to the right, but we really want to find the center of it. We could estimate and use that one blob, but what happens if we grab the left blob, right blob? They gave us 2 targets for a reason. So if we actually skip over contour and filtering for now, go over to output, we can go here and take single targets and click on the dual target mode. So now our 2 targets in our view are captured. You can see the crosshair that's in the middle of the screen. That is a value. Down here on the bottom we have a target X and a target Y value. The Y in this game today I don't believe is going to be as important, since all targets are relatively on the same plane. Could be useful. There are in the manual, and we'll have to consult the manual to determine that. It does seem like there's one set that's offset on the y-axis. But let's just say this is mounted on our camera, or rather our robot, and we know that if we drive straight forward with this target here, we'll put our port cover. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah. What is the portal cover? Portal cover. That's what we're calling it. I don't know.
The hatch.
The hatch. The hatch cover. We'll end up putting the hatch cover directly in the right spot. Now our camera's not, let's say our camera's not mounted on our robot off to the side. They've given us this great tool here, and actually if we go look at the network table, these are the values that are coming back to us. TX is actually degrees, not pixels. So right now the robot is currently 6 degrees off of target, but we know this is exactly 0. This is where we want it to be. So we can come over here and calibrate the XY. It will move the target over, and now returning down here is 0 degrees. The robot's gonna say something changes, we get to a competition and it's just slightly off the side again. We can go in here and change the target and get our robot back on track again. So, did I miss anything, Carter? I think.
Don't believe so.
Oh, there is some finer tuning, but real quick, down and dirty, 5 minutes, your robot should be able to track targets. We should be able to filter out things a little bit better, tune these in quite a bit, but for proof of concept, it really is that easy. I've talked about the Limelight with a couple groups today. I've showed them at right after Jumpstart. Yeah, a little plug for that. Right after kickoff today, and the sessions are so short, 5 minutes, we're set up, we're going. We just have to say it really is that easy. So